The moment I realized I was an INFJ, I feel like it explained everything. It explained my entire life. And some of that I didn't realize right away. Some of that took a few days, maybe a week or two, but it was so overwhelming. I just remember at the time I was looking into abuse, and I was looking into childhood abuse, from narcissism or from neglect, emotional neglect, just improper developing of the mind. I felt like I was a people pleaser. I felt like I kept getting surrounded by narcissists, and I felt like people just constantly took advantage of me, which hasn't entirely changed since then. But my whole life, I just found that I was different. I feel like I care more about others than they care about themselves in some cases, and definitely more than I care about myself. Typically, I'll do something for somebody regardless, irregardless of how I feel about it. And, it sucks because, you matter, I matter to me, but not everyone views other people the same way. I've always enjoyed the golden rule. I always liked the golden rule, and I've always tried to live by that. Not that it's a rule, but I like it because I like to be nice to people. I like to be there for people. I like to do favors for people, and I feel compelled to do it. Like almost, I can't help myself. If someone's in need, I feel like I have to help that person, and it's my duty and my responsibility. But I just notice, and you probably notice this too, that people don't reciprocate that. Oftentimes, family doesn't even reciprocate that mentality. So anyways, I thought I was being abused. I thought I was just surrounded by selfish people. And I got to a point where I was just watching all these YouTube videos of, narcissism, and, is my family full of narcissists? Are they all around me? Are they everywhere? And then I was thinking, what's wrong with me? Why do I put up with this? I was looking into people pleasing, and finally I just kind of had enough of listening to it because I just couldn't put my finger on it. I didn't feel like I was abused as a kid, although it's hard to remember a lot of that stuff. I have like vague memories of moments of not even really what happened, but just kind of like what it felt like, if it was like a good memory or a bad memory. So I started looking into auditory processing disorder because I was told at one point that I might have a form of auditory processing disorder because I was struggling in school. And this was after they thought I had ADHD, which is, that's another story. A lot of people are misdiagnosed with ADHD. I think that's just an issue with the school systems, but whatever. So I was looking into auditory processing disorder, and I came across sensory processing disorder, which led me to highly sensitive people, or HSP, or highly sensitive persons. I don't remember what it's called. And I started looking into that on YouTube and Google and whatever. And I haven't read the book, but I get the idea. And it sounds a lot like me. I don't have every quality. Chewing doesn't bother me unless you're smacking your gum like a cow. That's just kind of annoying. But noises, loud noises really startle me. I remember as a kid when I was playing basketball, anytime that buzzer would go off, it was just pure agony on my ears. I just hated it. And I never understood how people could just tolerate it and somehow not be annoyed or jump as soon as they hear that buzzer go off. And it got so bad that it was to a point where I wouldn't even be focused on the game. I'd be looking at the clock while I was playing, and I would wait for the last 2 seconds, and I would just plug my ears on the court when I was a kid because I hated it so much. I remember that. And so I was looking into highly sensitive person. I was like, man, that really sounds like me. I get offended easily. Even though I like criticism, depending on how you give it to me, how you approach me. If you can approach me in like, hey, I want to help you get better, criticism's awesome. But if you come at me with an attitude, or almost like I can sense you having this like attitude or about you, or like you're annoyed with me, then it doesn't go over well. What else? There's a lot of traits. At least half of them I identified with. And at that point, some videos were popping up on YouTube about INFJ and how it was the rarest personality type in the world. And, everyone wants to be special. And even sometimes deep down, I want to be special, but I don't really like being special. I don't want to be the center of attention. I don't want people to go, oh, he's special. I kind of just want to blend in. I want to be like the dependable go-to guy who isn't the primary person. I just want to be right in the middle, right under the radar, but on it just enough so that way people like me. Just kind of in between. And so I was watching this video, and I just immediately was like, nope, this isn't me. Doesn't sound like me. I don't want it to be me. And I just moved on. But Myers-Briggs personality testing, or just the MBTI types, kept popping up on my feed. So I got curious because I feel like I have to know everything if it's interesting to me. Anything that just sparks my interest, I get obsessed with it, which is another topic for another video. So I started looking into all these other types, and none of them sounded like me. I'm definitely an introvert, but I was confused because I like talking. I like to teach people. I like to help people. I like to communicate with people, but I really don't recharge when I'm around people. Like, I have to be alone. I like to eat my lunch alone when I'm at work. I like my alone time, in the morning. I like getting up super early just to have alone time, just because everyone's asleep. I can do whatever I want. I don't have to please anybody. I don't have to sacrifice whatever it is I'm doing. It's me time. It's wonderful. And so I knew I was an introvert, and I also know that I'm a really deep thinker. So I knew a little bit about myself. I know that I tend to let my emotions get the best of me. Not that I'm like a loose cannon, but if my emotions get negative, my day is wrecked. I can't concentrate on anything. So I just kept seeing these videos of INFJs, and it was clicking with me, and I just had to take the test, but I was too cheap to fork up the $20 or whatever for the actual test, the MBTI Myers-Briggs. So I found some popular INFJ YouTubers, and one of them said something about the 16personalities.com, so I went and checked it out. And as soon as I took the test, I did it as best as I could. I try not to read into anything because I can easily overanalyze every question. So I just try to answer them all matter of fact. I think that's what fits me. And I got INFJ, and it was pretty strong. It wasn't like borderline. It was pretty solid. And I know that test isn't 100%, but I just wanted to cry as soon as I saw it. I mean, I don't, because I don't like crying in front of people. My wife was in the apartment, and I don't really like crying that much in general. I feel like I cried enough as a kid. I'm sick of crying. And I just felt so overwhelmed with emotion. And I just felt like this explains it. This makes sense. I get it. I finally have an understanding of why I like life is the way that it is. It's not that people are abusive. It's not that I'm a people pleaser. It's not that I was mistreated as a kid. I'm just a very unique personality type. And I probably took this thing 30 times. And I tried really hard to just sway this personality test. And I couldn't do it. And I mean, maybe it's not accurate. I don't know. I don't care. I read up all about it, and it just sounds a lot like me. And it explains a lot, and I really resonate. There's a couple INFJ channels out there that they just share their thoughts and the way they think and the way they feel and the way they interact with people, and it just feels like they're describing my life. And it's like finding out you have a family that you never knew you had, and it's a great feeling. And I don't necessarily desire to, spend my time with these people and just be friends with them. And it's like I know that I have this unspoken like unity with these people, with somebody, because I feel like I think it sounds like it's common, but I always felt misunderstood. I always felt like my opinion wasn't valid to people, and I felt like I don't think that I'm better than people, and I don't think that I'm the best, but I feel like I'm really intelligent, and that I can really think something through, and I can take something and I can look at it from this perspective, and then this perspective, and then this perspective, and then I can rip it open and see it from that perspective. And then, I just feel like I can look at all these different angles, and I can approach a situation with an open mind. And I feel like I just get criticism, and people laugh at me, or they just think I'm a weirdo when I try to really get deep with somebody. And so it's just wonderful to know that it's just who I am. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you if you're an INFJ. I'm going to do a lot more of these videos. I'm going to start using them as a bit of a journal to get some ideas out, to share some interesting ideas and perspectives. I don't really care if I have a viewership. I don't care to make money. I have a full-time job. I have a family. I don't really need more chores. But if I can have the impact on an INFJ that these other INFJ channels had on me, then that's all that matters. And it's worth it.